let's talk about the Christy Awards. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I'm going to talk about the finalists for this year's Christy Awards. So this list came out September the 12th. So I'm a little bit behind talking about the finalists, but the winners aren't announced till November 14th, maybe? I thought it was in front of me, but it's not in front of me. It's sometime in November anyways. And my November prompt for my reading challenge is to read a Christy Award finalist. Now, for that, you don't have to read a finalist from this year. You could go back and read ones from previous years or even a winner from previous year. That is fine. But I'm just going to talk about the ones for this year. But before we get into it, what is the Christy Awards? So I've pulled it up on Wikipedia about what is the Christy Award. It was established in 1999, and it is awarded each year to recognize fiction of excellence written from a Christian perspective with matters of faith at its core. Awards are given in 9 categories, including romance, suspense, visionary, contemporary, standalone novels and series, and historical. In addition, an award is given for first novel and young adult. Okay, so on the Christy Awards website, which I will link in the description below because you can go and see all the finalists, and you can also go back years and see who won. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about every single book. I think there are 30 books in all the different categories, in total, over all the different categories. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to talk about the categories that I read. And have I read any of these books? I briefly looked at it, but I don't remember how many there was that I've read or not. And then we're going to which ones am I interested in? Okay, so the first category that comes up is contemporary romance. That is one of my favorite genres. And there is 4 books. I've taken my husband's tablet because my computer's like way over there. So I don't have descriptions for any of these. So basically it's going to be the title of the book, the author, and probably whether I've read it or if I'm interested in it. I'm not going into detail about these books. Okay, again, contemporary romance. Book number 1 is Her Only Wish by Shelley Shepard Gray, and it is published by Revel. And I know nothing about it other than I'm assuming it's an Amish story. Okay, then we have Indigo Isle by T.I. Lowe. This is published by Tyndale House. Again, I know nothing about this. I do know a couple people that have read this book, but I don't remember what they said about it. Then The Rhythm of Fractured Grace by Amanda Wen. I think that's how you say her last name. And it's published by Kragel? I'm not sure how to pronounce that publisher. And again, I don't know anything about it other than I briefly looked it up, and it's about a broken violin and getting a broken violin repaired. And from what I understand, the owner of the violin takes it into a music shop to get it repaired and makes a connection with the person that is repairing it. I don't really know how accurate that is, but okay. Then the last one is The Thing About Home by Rhonda McKnight, published by Thomas Nelson. I know nothing about this book, never even heard of the author, so I am no helpful there. No helpful? That was not good English. I am not very helpful there. So in the contemporary romance one, the one that kind of piques my interest because it's the one I've heard about, not that I know anything about it, but I've heard about it, is Indigo Isle by T.I. Lowe. Okay, then we move on to first novel. And we have A Fifth of the Story by Dr. Katherine Hutchison-Hayes, published by Endgame Press. I know nothing about this story. Nope. Then we have An American Immigrant by Johanna Rojas Vann, published by Waterbrook. I've seen this around. I've seen this cover. Like, the cover looks familiar to me. I know nothing about it. Okay, then On Moonberry Lake by Holly Varni, published by Revel. I've seen the cover around. I know nothing about it. And none of these three really interest me at this point in time. That could change. In the general fiction category, we have He Should Have Told the Bees by Amanda Cox. I have this book. This is published by Revel. I have not read it yet, but I have read another book by Amanda Cox that I really enjoyed. So this is, apparently I want to read it because I own it. Okay, then we have The Last Exchange by Charles Martin, published by Thomas Nelson. I don't know anything about this book. I've never read anything by Charles Martin. Okay, then we have The Wind Blows in Sleeping Grass by Katie Powner, published by Bethany House. I don't know anything about this book either, and I've never read this author. Then the last book in this category is The Year of Jubilee by Cindy Morgan, and it's published by Tyndale House. I know nothing. That's probably a lot of these books on this list. Okay, now we move into historical, which again is a category, one of my favorite genres, so hopefully I know these books. Okay, we have Appalachian Song by Michelle Shocklee. This is published by Tyndale House. I don't know this book. Okay, then we have The Foxhole Victory Tour by Amy Lynn Green, published by Bethany House. And this book is on my want to read list, and I've read a few of Amy Lynn Green's, and I've enjoyed a couple that I've read, so I do want to read this one. Okay, then we have The Warsaw Sisters by Amanda Barratt. This is published by Revel, and this is another one I want to read. It is on my want to read list. I do not own a copy of it, but I am very interested in it. I love this cover, and I've heard really good things about this book. Mystery, suspense, and thriller, which is one of my favorite genres. So the first book is 8 Down by Kimberley Woodhouse. This is published by Krugo? I really should figure out how to say that name. I have never read this author. I do know this is book 2 in a series, so this is not one I want to start with, but I am interested in this series. Other than, I'm pretty sure it takes place in Alaska. So hence the reason I haven't really picked it up yet. Okay, then we have 2 books by Jamie Jo Wright. So we have The Lost Boys by Barlow Theatre. No, The Lost Boys of Barlow Theatre. And The Vanishing at Castle Moreau. Both of them are published by Bethany House. And I am really intrigued by both of these books. I've heard good things about both of them. I've only read one Jamie Jo Wright before, and it was not my favorite, but I really want to give her another try. And so I will read either one of these. I don't know which one will be first, but yeah. Okay, then short form. Now, short form is not normally my preference. I'm not a big fan of novellas because we just don't get enough of the story for my liking. But I do have one. Okay, We Three Kings is a novella collection from 3 authors. Okay, so the first story, which is Beauty and Bright by Kara Putman, has been nominated, and Star of Wonder by Crystal Caudell has been nominated, and both of those are in this one. So I kind of feel bad for Angela Rue Strong that her story wasn't nominated, that 2 of them were. But yes, so I am interested in reading this. It's Christmas novellas. That's all I really know about it. And this book is really shiny. It's reflecting the light. Okay. The other novellas that are nominated are Dancing in the Rain. No, Poppy. It's The Poppy. It's in the Dancing in the Rain collection by Sarah Davidson, and it's independently published. I don't know anything about this. I don't know if I've even read this author before. Okay, then we have The Shifting Current by Danny Petrie, published by Danny Petrie, so it's independently published. I have read this book, and I gave it 4 stars. And this is part of her, what's the series called? The Coastal Guardians series. So it's part of that series. And I have read that one. And then the last one is You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Tony Shiloh, published by Bethany House. I've never read Tony Shiloh, so I have not read this one. Okay, and then the last 2 categories that I'm not going to talk about are young adult and speculative. I cannot pronounce words. Okay, so I have a list on a spinner wheel, of course, of the 7 books that I am interested in reading. 7? Oh, okay, that I'm interested in reading and can get from my local library if I don't own them. So there was at least 2 others that I was kind of interested in, but I cannot get them unless I buy them. And right now, I'm trying not to buy books. We'll see what happens with that. But okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my screen, and we are going to pick how many books are we going to pick? 2, 3, 7. Let's pick 2 books. So let the spinner wheel choose 2 books, and I have to read one of those books for my November prompt. This way, in case one ends up getting on hold and I can't get it in November, I can get the other one. That's why I'm saying pick 2. Okay, so the 7 that I have on the list are The Rhythm of Fractured Grace, He Should Have Told the Bees, The Foxhole Victory Tour, The Warsaw Sisters, The Lost Boys of Barlow Theatre, The Vanishing at Castle Moreau, and We Three Kings. Okay, let's see what happens. So it's spinning. Can you read that? Because I can't read that. That looks like a long name. He Should Have Told the Bees. Okay. Well, that's that one. Okay, so if it's a book that I own, do I really need to spin again to choose a second book? I'm going to, because I said I was going to spin twice. Okay, so close that one and respin. I don't like the way the light, The Lost Boys of Barlow Theatre. Okay, it's a Jamie Jo Wright book. Okay. So I will try to get that one from the library so that I have both of them, and maybe I can read both in November. Which, just throws off all my goals, but that's okay. So, okay. So those are the Christy Award finalists, that the categories that I'm interested in and whether or not I've read some of the books. I would love to know, have you looked at the Christy Awards? Do you pay attention to what books win what awards? I'd love to chat in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you stick around and stay tuned for future videos. Bye.